on the day we almost lost everything, I decided to start keeping a journal. I decided to start keeping a journal as a way of trying to rescue something. I did not yet know that the planet's grind like gears, stripping everything we love away. What I want to say is that I am just one person. This morning, I got into my clothes with their little rips and tight spots. I set out plates, and then as I made warm, buttery smelling toast, I was aware that the maple tree still stands beside the wrought iron fence. By these signs, I remember who I am. Perhaps none of us sees clearly until someone describes the world to us. That's why there are papers, books, and movies to make sense of it all. The world is described to you, and then you go and you look at your books, your old pictures, your mother's tablecloth, and they're all damaged but recognizable. So you stand there, putting the pieces together like a jigsaw puzzle. And so I began trying to put other people's pieces together. Not like a jigsaw puzzle, but like shattered porcelain.
I'm afraid they'll find out I did it since I can't stop the bleeding. But I've got an alibi worked out. I sliced its skin and croaker. If they believe that, they're dumber than I think, because the knife cuts clean and auto glass breaks jagged and gives a jagged cut, which is what I've got. I came to work here at 16 after my old man left. We install glass in cars. It's quiet as a graveyard since we all wear gloves. Not to protect our hands, but to protect the glass. Replacing something smashed is better than serving meat that turns to shit in hours. What kept getting to me was the quiet. Like all those millions of car windows resting on their sides between the stakes. Sheet after sheet, frozen sound.
Have you ever wanted to put yourself in someone else's place? Your body's nothing, only a bookmark to hold your place in the world while you fill up with someone else. That's when the idea comes like medicine. You can't control everything. You can't know everything. But you can write. Write about everything, because everything matters. They matter. So I began sending in my stories, their stories, they matter. Sending in their stories to the newsman. Everything matters. I can't know everything. To know everything would kill me. I'm not God. I'm not the river and the trees. I'm just this one breath, rising and falling before the next one, which might never come. But I am a writer. I can write.
You figured John and I wouldn't elope. You wanted us to stay in your small town, bound down and sensible. But love isn't a tunnel, Mother. It's a contraption, more like the human heart, with chambers you can climb around in. Left ventricle, right ventricle. If you set the ladder squarely, you can climb up beyond yourself. Before we meant to, we found ourselves looking down where strings of starlights defined the little squares of shops and houses. We looked down at the stucco house we might have lived in, and at you, Mother, your face no bigger than a number on my watch. You are standing by the police sergeant who says over and over, just gone, just gone. Like theme music to a commercial you can't believe. But it's true. It's true. We are finally alone together, touching. And as for the future, John has seen to that. He carried a brown boat on his back, looking like a beautiful beetle, in case we ever need to come back home.
Suddenly, I couldn't keep up with all of the interviews. It wasn't that suddenly everybody had a story that was important. It was just that suddenly everyone was realizing their stories all were important.
Yeah, about the house. I built it with my father. It was an idea we had in a good season. Yeah, later, I brought my wife and children there, but as I grew older, it seemed too small, like a story I had to tell my two sons every day. The walls, the same old rooms. I tried to rip it down barehanded. I began to dream of fire. It's a long story, and I'm not used to talking. Most days, my hammer makes a noise for me. Yeah, even my hammer stutters. Yeah, one night, I struck the match, stepped back to watch the fire, then carry the kids out one by one. The burning house flickered in my son's astonished eyes. The fiery studs and beams against that night became a new blueprint. I want to build again. This plan is going to be better than my father's. It'll keep out rain, I think. Forever. But they took my hammer, locked my tools away. So who do you say I've hurt? The old house? Well, surely not my father. The children? I mean, they're sitting there before you in this court. Some people would call them beautiful. Yeah, this one could help to fix the crazy slope of history with his sharp eye and one common T-square. Yeah, the other's hands are subtle. I've seen him plain rage until it's blunt and useful as a walnut plank. They love me. They listen to me. I look at them. If you let me go, can you imagine what we might still be able to finish?
As I write this, the alphabet weeps. Language would like to break through police lines, through the sheets of glass, and just offer some comfort. I would love to offer some comfort. I divide like an amoeba, and then divide again until I can see the world from everyone's head. My vision is as multiple as a housefly's. How can I forget a thing I've seen, I've heard, I've written? And then there's the burden of appearing normal. Sometimes I feel like grief might just crack me open like a walnut. Once I believed that everything was hooked together, like holes in our back screen door, that anyone with practice could see order, the earth and stars arranged like a conspiracy of pinpricks and a colander. I believed there was always a right and a wrong. I believed someone was always the better. Someone was always the protagonist, and someone was always the antagonist, that there was always a definition for every little thing that I could easily write out in my little leather notebook. I wanted to write the truth, to show the truth. And sometimes you get the things you ask for, like your own section in the newspaper, and a permanent desk in a room without windows with a little red mug. But the rain we pray for drowns us. Looking up, I see no rainbow anywhere. My heart was once a mountain, but now it's worn flat by rain. I started keeping a journal with the hopes of remembering who I am, who I was. I started telling other people's stories in the hopes of remembering who they were, who they are. In that process, I accomplished half of my goals. Every week, the paper tells someone new story, which is exciting. Don't get me wrong. But every week, I also forget more of who I am. of memories receding into my mind like carp down the stream. Suppose I'm separate from the stories I've written. Blameless as bright pins scattered on a map. Suppose I have a story worth telling. Hi. I'm the writer that's been telling you stories every week, and I have another one for you. Mine.